Hey everyone, and welcome to the Let's Real podcast. I'm Nain, your host for today's episode, and today we'll be covering the Moana 2 trailer, Knives Out 3 details, a new top 10 A-list Hollywood actors, Project Hail Mary, and we have to discuss the box office results for Memorial Day weekend. It's just a must. I'm joined here by the box office king, James, and let's get straight into it, starting with Moana. The film that was announced literally out of nowhere, Moana 2, we've seen its first little teaser for it. It's made by Disney, of course, and it's releasing on 27th of November. Auli'i Cravalho and Dwayne Johnson returns as Moana and Maui. And the film is based on... I'll just read out the plot synopsis from Wikipedia. It's always trusty. Is after receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors, Moana must journey to the far seas of Oceania and into dangerous, long-lost waters for an adventure unlike anything she's ever faced. So, James, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
So does that mean Moana's coming our way to Australia and New Zealand, like around that area? Oceania would imply that, correct?
Possibly. It depends if she's sailing this way or that way. Well, it depends where her thing is. If it's like...
Where is she coming from?
I don't know.
Isn't it Hawaii? I don't know. Anyway, back to my trailer thoughts, eh? This trailer didn't move my opinion or anticipation, whatever we want to call it, in any direction whatsoever. I've always been a little bit cautious of this movie, and that is because of like two things for me at least. Is Disney. I don't think they're ultra reliable anymore. I think they've really kind of destroyed their reputation and the reputation for their major franchises, Star Wars, MCU, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, despite the encouraging comments as of late coming out of Disney, whether it's through Bob Iger or like other executives, I still don't think those changes and their realizations that, you know, quality over quantity is going to be hitting us anytime soon. I think if they are to follow through on those kind of sentences, then, yeah, that will be actioned around like 2026 time when they start actually, you know, focusing on quality and getting rid of all these projects that we don't need. And I think this was part of the quantity over quality philosophy that they had for, I guess, their COVID era, we'll call it, eh? So yeah, the Moana TV show was announced in 2020, and that's kind of that's when like Disney really went downhill, you know. So this was announced as a TV show, and then in February this year they were like, no, we're gonna rework it into a movie. I think that's a pause for concern, not because of anyone involved in particular, but can you think of an example where they've changed it like kind of like the last second to a TV to a movie and it's worked? I can't really recall any kind of examples close to that, but I think it justifies you being a little bit cautious about it. And that's coming from someone who actually liked the first Moana. I love the first Moana. It's just a ton of fun. It's wholesome. It had great animation, particularly for its time. But for this trailer, it's kind of what I expected, and we get a good glimpse of like with the animation. It seems to be right up there in terms of industry standard of animation quality. I'm gonna be disappointed that Lin-Manuel Miranda is not returning as the songwriter for this one, despite my personal thoughts about him. He is a master at what he does. I can respect that, and it'll be interesting to see if they can handle it without him here. But I'm not excited for it, but I'm not excited for it either, if that makes sense. I'm not sure about you, but where do you fit in with Moana 2 and like your anticipation for it?
I don't really care that much, you know. I mean, I thought the first film was great, but this one, I think it's the announcement of the live action one that's really turned me sour.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
I think I was just really, really pissed off against that, and now I just have a grudge against anything off this franchise, so I don't really care that much. I mean, I'll still go see it. I might enjoy it, who knows, but I don't really care. I mean, if it was I mean, it looks great, you know, just the animation style, considering it's going to release in like 5 months' time. It looks fantastic. It looks like they've been working on it for a year and a half. Well, they probably might have, but considering it was just announced this year, that it's going to look really, really good. So I think that's not so much of a worry for me. It's just in regards to how it's all done and the dialogue at the end of the day, because that last bit in the trailer with The Rock was a bit hard to watch, you know, and listen to. It was just like, oh, if he's just going to be throwing out these cheesy one-liners, then I was right to hate on this franchise.
I knew you'd make a comment about it as soon as the trailer was doing so well until it got to that point. I'm like, you're doing so well, yeah. But
Bacon and eggs. Should have put the
Bacon
pig
and
last.
eggs.
Oh, fucking hell. Goddamn
yeah,
Rock.
I know. He probably showed up late to voice those lines as well, which is the funny part.
Probably did.
Yeah, like when the Maui's talking, just try and listen for like a dribble or droplets, and that's him peeing into a bottle while he's talking and acting. You know, he can't waste any time, nothing at all. But we're gonna have to see how it goes. I'm very interested in terms of its box office potential, dude. That's the biggest thing for me, because we're gonna get into the box office like later on, but it's been disastrous so far for 2024, and you know, hitting $1 billion. Who knows what movies are doing it? I don't think there's any, guaranteed one. Obviously, Deadpool 2 has, or Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine probably has the best shot at it. And you got stuff like Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2 that have a chance. I think Moana might have a chance. Now, the first one didn't do too well. It did fine. I think it was like between 600 and 700 million. But I was looking at some stats. The first Moana was the most streamed movie of last year.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. It just was. And so I think there is I'm not going to say a legacy. We're not there yet. But it has this ongoing popularity that could really, benefit this movie. And it could actually go all the way up to $1 billion. It's releasing at the end of the year. That's the perfect time to allow those really long legs to go through. And its only competition really is that Mufasa movie. So I think
Isn't it releasing same time as Wicked as well?
I think so, yeah. I don't know too much about Wicked, actually. I'm not fully caught up on that in terms of, I guess, how it's going to be tracking. But I think Moana 2 could actually be a good thing for 2024, at least in movies and the movie business. So fingers crossed it does well there. And hopefully it's good as well.
Yeah. I will go to the negative side, and hopefully it doesn't do good, and hopefully
don't be that
bad.
guy. Don't be that guy.
I will be that guy, so they learn a lesson for this live action one, and then they cancel it and do something proper. Someone's got to speak up. And we'll move on now based on that. All right. Some awesome news coming out within the past few days, and I think we've all saw it coming, was the third movie in the Knives Out saga. It's called Wake Up Dead Man. Daniel Craig is going to return as Benoit Blanc, and Rian Johnson is going to return to direct. It's going to come out next year on Netflix, so next year is slowly starting to get a bit more stacked after losing some key players. It's good to see something to look forward to there. And the cast so far is pretty good. We've got Andrew Scott, Kerry Washington, Glenn Close, Josh O'Connor, and Kaylee Spaney. Those are the announcements so far. Apparently Lindsay Lohan is rumoured to join this cast as well, but nothing official has been confirmed. And I'm sure we all know the Knives Out cast is a wide, massive one, so I'm sure we'll get at least another 5, 6, 8, 10, 20 more announcements within this. So, James, what do you think of this cast so far for Wake Up Dead Man?
I think it's a great cast. You got balance between, veterans, Andrew Scott, Kerry Washington, Glenn Close, obviously. And then you got some really up-and-comers really coming through. Josh O'Connor, he's hot off challenges. He was great in it. I see a really bright future for him. He seems to be getting so much roles lately. I don't know if you've been following things, but I swear once a week I see Josh O'Connor signed on to this, Josh O'Connor signed on to that. And I'm like, oh man, this guy has a really open schedule, it seems. Also, Kaylee Spaney, she's really blowing up now. So yeah, it's a great cast so far. I hope they can just continue to buffer this up a lot more and make it quite interesting. I thought that Glass Onion, the second one, I thought that was okay in terms of the cast. Like they had some good players in there, but then they had just some just cast. I don't think that cast really gelled together, at least not in the same way as the first one. But I'm excited for it. It's hard to not be excited for a Knives Out movie. I think Rian Johnson's really good at what he does, and this is probably the best thing that he does. But I watched the first Knives Out maybe a month or two ago. It's brilliant. The first one, it's just brilliant. And I just needed that reminder to see how great it really was, because Glass Onion was so forgettable for me. And it might be an unpopular take, so I'm curious to see what you think. But I don't think I like it. I don't think I like it anymore. I know that it was good somewhat, but it just never stuck in my mind the way that the first Knives Out had. So the way I'm kind of viewing this, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. Can Rian Johnson return this franchise to the brilliance of the first one, or is it just going to settle for what the second one does? I don't know if Knives Out is really a franchise that can branch out or like this, or whether Rian Johnson is maybe he's running out of tricks up his sleeve for these kind of narratives and stuff. So we're going to have to see. Otherwise, I'm going to be excited for it, but this is kind of like the tester. If this one falls in the same kind of realm of quality that Glass Onion was, I'll start to get less enthused about this franchise and its future, I think. And also, get it off Netflix. Can we get it in the cinemas, please? The first one's so great in the cinemas. I'm done with that. But hey, they offered him the money, so I guess fair is fair.
I just want a 4K version of Glass Onion, and this one eventually comes out. I mean, I've got Knives Out, and there's all these sequels. Just like, well, I can't have a 4K physical media copy of these of this, so fuck. But yeah, I love murder mystery films. It's probably a guilty pleasure of mine, so I'm really excited for this. I mean, any murder mystery, whether it's good or bad, I watch. Unfortunately, I did watch Death on the Nile, and I wish I didn't.
Oh yeah,
but it's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I'm with you. This cast is stacked, or getting stacked so far, and it's got the good balance of old and up and coming. Kaylee Spaney is probably taking the world by storm right now. Being in Priscilla, Civil War, upcoming Alien Romulus, now this. I think she's picking all the right roles. It's not all the familiar, similar roles. You got some indies in there, some thrillers, and some mainstream IPs as well. So I think this is just a good step for her into breaking out properly. Josh O'Connor, I don't know what other stuff he's signed on to that you mentioned before, but yeah, his talent is, it can hit the roof. He was fantastic in challenges, and then if we add in more experience, it can just help them along, and along with some newcomers as well. So absolutely looking forward to this. Daniel Craig returning as well. You can't really have a Knives Out movie without him. That's my opinion. So yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait till 2025 on Netflix. Hopefully
what do you think of Glass Onion compared to the first one? A drop off in quality?
100%, yeah. It's nowhere near. The twist was a bit mid as well. You could like sort of see it coming.
I saw it coming,
When I was watching the film, I was like, what? I was like calling all these little things, and I pretty much figured out who it was within like the first like hour or so, and then it revealed it, and I was like, oh yeah, because he did that, and that's why. And then I like did a flashback of what happened. I was like, haha, caught it in my head. I wish I said out loud and recorded it, but yeah, I am on board with you. It was a dip in quality. I remember bits of it, not a lot of it. So I probably will need to rewatch. I'll probably rewatch it when this comes out along with Knives Out, but I think Knives Out is clear up here, and Glass Onions
100%. Yeah. I feel like, I may be a little bit salty towards it because I watched it in quite a sour mood. When we were going on our trip around Europe and then our plane got delayed by like 24 hours, I just went home and watched it. So my mood wasn't sky high at that point in time. So it may have been my fault in terms of when I chose to watch it. But still forgettable.
I watched it the night before we flew out. The night before we were supposed to fly out. So I was in a good mood because I watched this. It's just dropped, and then I'll go off onto my trip.
Well, I was the opposite. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I gotta rewatch it.
me too. 2025 is probably when I'll do it. What about you guys? Are you guys going to rewatch the Knives Out saga before Wake Up Dead Man? What do you think of this cast as well? Could you get behind it? Did you like Glass Onion? Let us know. Comments below. Do your thing. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe too. Alright. The Hollywood Reporter has just released the top 10 new A-list actors. So the list is Zendaya, Glenn Powell, Jacob Elordi, Paul Mescal, Austin Butler, Jenna Ortega, Florence Pugh, Anya Taylor-Joy, Sydney Sweeney, and Timothy Chalamet. These are the new A-list actors according to The Hollywood Reporter. James, do you think anyone of these people are A-list territory?
I don't know. I kind of have mixed thoughts because I've gone through the Hollywood Reporter article and just seen kind of what their criteria is to define an A-list actor, right? And, you know, the only thing that we can say is really objective about it is that they're young. This article is saying the young A-list actors, but it doesn't really define what an A-list actor is. It seems to run off a survey they did with, you know, Hollywood agents and executives. So if it's trying to define an A-list actor based on this survey, then we can't really argue if anyone doesn't belong in that list because it's based on people inside the industry rather than outside, such as me and you. But if we look at what an A-list actor is in terms of just the, I guess, standard definition of the way most people would view it, because for me, the way I view what an A-lister actor is like there's a lot of criteria, I guess, but the main two is they're either going to bring you money or they're either going to bring in money or they're going to bring in Oscars. If they do both, then they're a megastar, or one or the other. That means they're an A-list actor, and they consistently do that through every kind of movie. Then they become an A-list actor. And if we run on that definition of what an A-list actor is, then there are some ones where you can kind of argue against these. So I'll go through what I think, but I have a bunch of names here that I want to run by you, and I just want to see where you're at. I've made no complete, or I haven't formulated an opinion in my mind just because I want to see if I want to see what your take is, so then you might be able to persuade me into a different kind of thinking. But at least from what this list is for the Hollywood Reporter, I would say that the clear locks and the ones that I would agree with is Zendaya, Glenn Powell, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Sydney Sweeney, and Timothy Chalamet. I think they're safe bets. They're safe locks. You put them into a big movie, put a budget behind them. I think they can bring good money. I think the others still have room to demonstrate their pull in terms of box office, or being able to campaign for Oscars and such. So I think 6 locks. For you, what would your locks be?
Zendaya and Timothy Chalamet for sure. Austin Butler and Florence Pugh. I don't think, after Furiosa, I think her reputation as a drawer has been shot in the foot. Sydney Sweeney, I think she only became popular ever since, she was popular in Euphoria, but she really broke out after Anyone But You. Glenn Powell, I think he's getting really, really, really close. Ever since Top Gun Maverick, he's exploded on the scene, and I'm really interested to see how he does for Twisters. If he can bring in some good money for that, then I would be convinced he's the next A-lister.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega, I think she's only just riding the highs off Wednesday, to be honest. I think she's done nothing that great drawing rise. So she has to actually do something proper. Maybe Beetlejuice, we'll see, but I think that's just going to be a nostalgia run. But it's a win for her. And is that? Oh, who cares about the other two? Jacob Elordi and Paul Mescal. They're way too.
4 to 5. 4 to 5. You would say are locked right now. Glenn Powell's on the edge.
He's there.
Yeah.
Depending on Twisters, he'll get there.
Yeah. That's fair. I think Sydney Sweeney would be on the edge as well. As for my locks, I think would be at the bottom. Probably with Timothy and Zendaya at the top there. But the one person they left out, who I would say would be at the top of the list, Tom Holland.
Yeah, I had the same thought too.
I looked at your list and I had to double check. I went to the Hollywood Reporter list and I was like, oh my gosh, he's not there. Like, what? Like,
Unless they already consider him to be an A-lister.
but like, he came onto the scene at the same time as Zendaya because they starred in the same movie. Obviously.
Maybe this list is like their new list, so they had a previous list and then this is a new list. So maybe on the previous list, but yeah, I was thinking about the same thing at work today. I was like, hang on, where the fuck is Tom Holland?
Yeah, because I mean, reading the article, it says that these are the new things that are going to take over Hollywood. Like these are your new stars, pretty much. And I'm like, no, Tom Holland deserves to be there. He can act. Sure, he's made some bad choices in terms of roles
And
outside
he can
the
draw.
MCU. He can what?
Majority of his he can draw.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like he's been in two $2 billion movies, a $1.9 billion movie. Granted, they're MCU, but still, like you can't. I was thinking that Hollywood Reporter was taking him out of the list because of its MCU rise. Like that's what's gotten him to the A-lister territory. But Florence Pugh's part of the thing. Zendaya as well, obviously. Like those projects in the MCU have helped their status go up. So yeah, Tom Holland, I think we can both agree he's a lock for an A-lister. Yeah. This conversation gets a little bit more interesting by the end of next year, but David Corenswet.
Nah.
He's coming.
Nah. I wouldn't. Okay. I'll put him on that Jacob Elordi, Paul Mescal tier. Like, he can get there, but Superman will be the first thing I've seen him in. So for me, I probably wouldn't. And if it does bring him money, I think it'd be more based on people wanting to see James Gunn's take on this new universe rather than himself.
True, fair. But I think Superman will be the one where people get hooked onto who David Corenswet is. They'll go back to his previous movies, and then he'll start getting his own kind of following. Yeah,
probably.
It gets
similar
interesting.
To Glenn Powell, except Glenn Powell did the opposite.
But he's very close to Jacob Elordi, I think. Like, if you put him on the top 10, I'm not going to argue against it. It's something I would consider. But perhaps at the end of next year, we can have that conversation again. Another name I thought, Harris Dickinson, Triangle of Sadness, The Iron Claw. I think he's on the rise, particularly in the same boat as Paul Mescal. It's not, except, I think Paul Mescal has, what does he have? After Sun, another movie as well. I know he's got Gladiator 2, but Harris Dickinson's been in, probably more well-known movies that are in that Oscar territory than Paul Mescal, so I don't understand.
He's not the one from 1917 as well, eh? Or is that a different actor?
No, that's different.
No, that's someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. So he can be considered, I feel, but probably still doesn't have the filmography behind him to get the same kind of draw.
He's like a lower tier one. He's one to keep an eye on for the future. Same as Kaylee Spaney.
Yeah. Sadie Sink. She could be considered, coming off the Whale, an Oscar-winning movie, actually. Stranger Things, the most popular Netflix show ever. Maybe not in a single season spurt, but throughout Netflix's history, it's the most popular one. But then we go to the Stranger Things star, Millie Bobby Brown. Why is Jenna Ortega over her?
That's a good point. And she's been a lot more, she's been in Enola Holmes and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, so Godzilla King of the Monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, and the second one as well. Whatever. Oh no, the third one. As well. So she's definitely been in a lot of high budget movies, and she's a good actress as well. So I'm telling you, Jenna Ortega is only popular because of Wednesday. If she wasn't in Wednesday, no one would be frothing her. Yeah,
I mean, exactly. Like, I know she was in the 2 Scream movies, the rebooted franchise, but they didn't blow up at the box office or anything. I think they did respectfully well. But then Millie Bobby Brown's in Godzilla, and that did good. And whatever she seems to do on Netflix seems to be really, really big on that platform. So, if they're looking for a Netflix star, it's not Jenna Ortega. I would say it's Millie Bobby Brown, clearly. But Jenna Ortega is coming up. Like, revisit this in a few years, and I could see Jenna overtaking. But at this point in time, no.
Yeah.
Kaylee Spaney, we just spoke about her.
Oh, definite. I reckon probably not made it on the list, but she's definitely there, if not going to be there.
Yeah.
She just seems to be picking the right roles, and it's all working for her, and she's giving consistently fantastic performances. So I think Alien Romulus will cement her.
Yeah. This one's probably not a big one. Margaret Qualley. But I think she's like a Yorgos child, if you know what I mean. Just in those Yorgos movies.
She definitely has potential. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen Maid, but she's absolutely fantastic in Maid, the Netflix TV series.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
She's fantastic in that, and that's probably where I see like this potential in her. She just needs to pick less supporting roles and actually go for a main role and test herself.
Well, she was in Drive Away Dolls, which I watched this year. One of the Coen brothers who did his first movie, and by himself without his brother, and she was leading in that. She was good, but yeah, I feel like she's going to break out at some point. But one to watch. Isabella Mercedes. I don't know how we want to say it.
I swear she's been on the cusp for like so long.
Because she was in Dora the Explorer as Dora.
Yeah, and Transformers as well.
Yeah, but it's what's coming for her is it's going to break her out. She's in Superman as Hawk Girl. She's in The Last of Us and Alien Romulus. That's her upcoming slate. That's huge. Those are 3 massive roles and really big projects. So I think, she's going to be there. You could argue this over like Jacob Elordi, Paul Mescal, but Barry Keoghan, he's not only in, those indie movies by those, alt-tier directors, however, we want to frame an A-lister, but he's also in stuff like The Batman. He is in other big stuff as well, so I would put him in.
I'll put him in the same category as Millie Bobby Brown as to why the hell he's not on this.
Yeah.
I mean, Banshees of Inisherin, Oscar nominated, Oscar winning as well, I'm pretty sure. Can't remember. Saltburn as well. It may not have gotten a lot for the Oscars, but awards prior to that. And then, like you said, Batman, he had like a 2-second cameo in it, but he's going to be in Batman Part 2, and he'll be in a lot more as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like...
Oh, and Green Knight.
Green Knight, yes. But when it comes to, Saltburn, Jacob Elordi and Barry Keoghan are both in that movie. And who is getting the kind of the most awards claim or awards buzz? Barry Keoghan, not Jacob Elordi. So you got to really consider that. Barry Keegan's probably your better bet to bring in Oscars at this point in time. And then we get some people that are kind of older, but the Hollywood Reporter says young new A-listers, and they have Glenn Powell on this list, and he's 34. So I got some people around that age. The oldest one I got here is Robert Pattinson. He's 38, but we would...
Nah, I think he's already made it.
Oh, so he's older. Like, he's in that older A-lister.
Yep.
Miles Teller, 37.
I mean, he was in Whiplash.
Yeah. I mean, like...
And Top Gun.
And Top Gun, yeah. When you're talking about the faces of Hollywood for the next 20 years, I don't know. I'm sure he's 3 years older than the oldest guy on the Hollywood Reporters list, but I would probably consider him. Under that 40-year threshold, I would say is respectable.
Probably.
Yeah. Then you got stuff like Daniel Kaluuya, 35.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, is he that young?
Yeah.
I thought he was way older.
Nah, so, like, he can be a part of this. I don't see why not. If Glenn Powell's going to be old and do this, or be on this list, then I think you can have these. Taron Egerton, he's 34.
Oh, yeah, why is he not? I guess he's, like, simmered down, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's been in, big draw movies. He's, been in the awards buzz with Rocketman, stuff like that. And then we get to one that could be in the future, Nicholas Hoult. He's 34. I blew my mind that he's 34 years old. But he's 34.
He was way older.
Yeah, I know. I feel like he's been around forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's 34.
He's the same age as Glenn Powell. He definitely should have been on there.
Yeah, and at 34 years old, he might have the biggest list on here in terms of, like...
Filmography?
Yeah, like, what, X-Men, Mad Max... What else has he been in? He's been in other stuff.
He's going to be in Superman soon.
Yeah, exactly. So... I don't know, man. I don't think Hollywood Reporter got it right, but I think they did a good job in getting at least over half of them right. Yeah.
For sure, yeah. Well, what do you guys at home think? Do you think we are wrong and we're idiots and these guys are A-list territory, especially Gina Ortega? Let us know in the comments below and give your reasonings why she is an A-list besides Wednesday. Thank you. All right, Project Hail Mary. This is a 2021 novel by Andy Weir and it's being adapted into a movie. Right now, there's two cast members, Ryan Gosling and Sandra Hüller, who was in... Was it Anatomy of a Fall? I think so.
And Zone of Interest.
And Zone of Interest. The directors is Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and Greg Fraser is tapped to be the cinematographer. The plot of the book is the film tells the story of a man who wakes up from a coma with amnesia and gradually remembers that he was sent 12 light years from Earth on a mission to save humanity. James, what do you think of this upcoming movie from pretty much everything, cast, director, and plot-wise?
It's on my top 10 most anticipated, and I think it stays there until the film actually comes out. I hadn't heard of this until I saw the script notes this morning, and I looked into it, and I'm like, okay, wow, I'm really on board. This sounds great. This sounds really, really good. And yeah, it's 2026. Seems like it's getting pretty stacked, dude. You know, you got the Batman Part 2, you got Steven Spielberg's movie coming out, you got this now. I think it's gonna be a good couple of years, these next two. So I guess we have to get through this lackluster year, 2024. But Project Hail Mary, Ryan Gosling and Sandra Hüller, two actors you can really get behind in a movie. They can do really powerful performances. You put them in the right role, they're gonna do really good stuff. The 2021 novel by Andy Weir. The novelist there, he wrote The Martian as well. We've all seen The Martian with Matt Damon and stuff, directed by Ridley Scott. But the novel, I love the concept that you read out just before. I'm super excited to see a space movie, and I read and believe this is going to be an IMAX. So you know that the studio's going to be putting like quite a bit of money behind this to really showcase it in that IMAX format. So it shows me that there's, faith behind the studio, that they're going to make this a big blockbuster. And kind of, I think we'll hopefully have that, cinematic experience to it. And you got Greg Fraser as a cinematographer. I've said this before, he's a top 5 cinematographer working today. Whether it's, the Batman, Dune 1 and 2, Rogue One, Lion. So he's got such a, resume already. I think he's just going to add to it here. And it's directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I mean, these two, I love these two. They're really growing on me. But they did the Lego movie, which, no one expected that to be as great as it was. The 21, 22 Jump Street. They also wrote the Spider-Verse movies. So they're really good at what they do. I have full faith in them to bring something here. I think also to note is that, the novelist behind this movie also wrote The Martian. And the guy who's writing this movie, Drew Goddard, also wrote The Martian. So between those two novels, you're getting the same novelist in Andy Weir, and then the same screenwriter for the adaptation in Drew Goddard. So, yeah, you can trust that kind of transferable quality to it. And it's kind of like a spiritual sequel in a way. But the only thing I think is to note is that the Project Hail Mary novel wasn't as well received as The Martian, despite being well received overall. Just wasn't as great as The Martian. So maybe that could deter it, but man, I'm fully on board. And I don't know, we might have to do a 2026 Victor of the Picture soon, dude. We're gonna take an early sneak peek look at that. I feel it's getting pretty
like a mini Victor of the Picture.
Yeah, like 4 tiers or 3 tiers or something. Yeah.
I'm completely behind you. I'm super excited for this. I mean, I love that. I don't know much about the book or the novelist, but I really like that synopsis of it. It's just so intriguing. It can go either way. Ryan Gosling is in it. We know he can both do comedy and serious acting, similar to Matt Damon. You mentioned that Andy Weir did The Martian as well. I really hope it's similar tone to that. where it has like its real serious moments, but then it's also heartfelt and fun at times as well. I think it's a perfect tone to capture this. Sandra Hüller as well is a fantastic actress. So looking forward to seeing her dynamic with Gosling as well. You mentioned before, Phil Lord and Chris Miller can't do much wrong right now, and Greg Fraser's just like the sought out after cinematographer besides Roger Deakins right now. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. 12 years from Earth on a mission, and he wakes up from a coma with amnesia. How crazy is that? Like,
I mean, it could. Do you think? You know what that synopsis reminded me of? Passengers, and we know how that movie turned out. So, yeah, it could be
for
like
me,
that.
For me, it's giving me like original Planet of the Apes vibes. You know,
Also that too,
astronaut falls into Earth and doesn't realize like where he is, but turns out he's on his own home country. I wonder if we'll get home country, idiot, home planet. I wonder if we'll get something similar to this. I think if you do, it's going to get compared a lot. But I think what movies nowadays is really missing is, you know, a good old-fashioned plot twist. We don't get much of those anymore, and if we do get them, they're straight up trash, like M. Night Shyamalan's old, pretty average plot twist there. I think that's what I think Hollywood really needs is just a good plot twist to be like, so it can be talked about for the decades and decades to come. And I don't know much about the novel. It could just be literally that's it. The synopsis, that's it. But if there is, but if there is a plot twist, or if they do make a plot twist, I hope it's good.
Yeah.
What about you guys at home? Could you get behind Project Hail Mary? If you've seen the book, let me know if I'm expecting too much in a plot twist, please. Because I'll best be put in my place now then when comes to release time. Let us know in the comments below and tell us if it's worth a read as well. I'm sure James and I will both go out and get the book and read it at some point between now and 26 for sure. All right, the main event of this podcast is upon us. It is here. It is the main event. It is the most interesting, least interesting, talked about, most least talked about segment. It is a box office. Most importantly, it's the Memorial Day weekend of box office. We had two new releases, Furiosa and Garfield. They were released within this big holiday period, thinking it's going to make a lot of money, when in fact it did absolutely nothing. This is the lowest Memorial Day weekend in 30 years, and this does not include COVID because that does not count for obvious reasons. Furiosa, in its 3 days, made 26.3 million, and over the 4 days made 32 million with a worldwide of 70 million. Garfield, in its 3 days, made 24.1 million, and over its 4 days it made 31.1 million. The total revenue for all 4 days for everything combined is roughly 128 million. So very, very low numbers. I mean, 128 million, like a film can do that on the release on its own, probably a bit before COVID, but yeah. So James, what is your take on the shocking result?
Man, this is really, really surprising. I know, like, we shot a podcast and then it didn't release due to unforeseen circumstances. But in that podcast recording, we predicted it, the Furiosa opening weekend, and boy, were we wrong. Everyone was wrong. The predictions, tracking, everything. You know, 32 million for the 4 days. People were thinking 40 million for the 3 days. So to see it get 26 million for the 3 days, that's shocking. I don't know how to explain it. I did say in that unreleased podcast one that we did that this movie wasn't going to be a big hit. People were expecting it to be because, you know, Fury Road's so beloved, but I just don't think the casual audience really cares about the Mad Max franchise, and I don't blame them, honestly. The Mad Max franchise is really weird and crazy, and kind of you really got to be open-minded to really get absorbed in a world like that. And unless you love cinema and, you know, filmmaking, it's hard to have some sort of like actual interest in that franchise. For just your average moviegoer. So I knew it would struggle, and Mad Max Fury Road didn't even do good. I think it made 380 million worldwide in 2015. I think it was around like 150 to 160 million total. This might not even get to 100 million.
It might even make its budget, right? What is its budget, 100 and something million, or was it 70 million?
No, I think it was 160 million was its budget.
Yeah.
It will make its budget in the worldwide, but it's still going to be a pretty big bomb for Warner Brothers. It's tough to see, man, because this is like a good movie that's bombing now as well. We've had over the last year in 2023, we saw huge bombs, but they were from pretty shit to mid movies. So understandable to see a really good movie go down in flames like this. It's sad to see, but hey, I guess that's the landscape these days. And it's just on film Twitter, everyone just seems to like freak out whenever a movie does bad. Like the Fall Guy, everyone's freaking out. Like, oh, everything's changed since COVID and stuff. Everyone's freaking out. I'm like, no, it's not that. It's the movie itself. Top Gun Maverick released 2022. That's after COVID, and it broke the Memorial Day record. Last year, 2023, The Little Mermaid got 5th all-time Memorial Day opening weekends. It's the movie. It's not this period that we're in. Sure, there are some circumstances that add to it, inflation, cost of living crisis, whatever it may be. But to just blame it on COVID now, I think we're past those days, and it comes down to the movies, the marketing, and just what people want. I don't have the answers. I know that there are other stuff contributing to it, but look for this weekend. Garfield is going to be number 1. Furiosa will be number 2. We can bet on that one. Yeah.
I think so too, considering it's like, what, 900,000? Sorry. Almost a million from beating Furiosa. Mm-hmm. Or even Time with Furiosa. It's crazy. Mind you, Garfield is a lot more appealing and has a bit of a higher ceiling. You can just take your kids to it, family to it. It's just easy. Adults may want to wish they never did, but the kids will absolutely love it. Mm-hmm. Watch our review for that. But yeah, it's real sad to see, as you mentioned, how a good movie that should be recognized just can't even struggle, or does struggle to make a lot of money, where something like Garfield can just print off money, and we just know that we're going to get a sequel for it based on these results, or based on the second weekend results where you predicted that will take over, which I completely agree with as well.
Yeah.
How big of a drop do you think Furiosa will get? Do you reckon it will be around about that 70 to 80% drop?
70 to 80%?
Yeah.
No way. That would be one of the biggest of all time. I don't think that was going to come close to that. It's tough to say. It's highly reviewed right now, and I think it is getting good feedback. But the cinema score's B+, and I know that sounds good, but it's not great as far as cinema scores go. It's usually A territory where it has slight drop off. So I'd say something between 55 and 60% is the safe bet. But perhaps the fact that it opened quite low may allow for less of a drop off, in this following weekend. So perhaps 50 to 55% may be the better prediction there for that one. But man, I know everyone's freaking out about the box office, but it is a little bit concerning considering, we're 800 million behind last year. And I don't know what we have coming up soon. You got Bad Boys, was it 5 or whatever, and then Inside Out 2. It's a really weak year. And when we did our most anticipated list, we saw this was going to be a weak year. I think people need to calm down, for one, and we need to brace for a really tough year at the box office. And then you're going to see 2025 and 2026 really skyrocket, because we're going to have that regular slate. As long as we stop having these strikes that shut everything down and cause this really imbalanced rhythm in Hollywood. We get, hopefully, no more disruptions for Hollywood, because we've had it for 4 years now. It's too much.
Exactly. Fingers crossed. You guys at home, do you agree with us? No more disruptions, and just let cinemas get back to how it was pre-2020. I'm sure you get aboard with us as well. What do you think about these box office results as well? Do you think it's shocking? Did you see it coming? If you did see it coming, me and James might call a little bit of bullshit on your part, but hey, if you give us proof, we will take our bullshit back. Hit that, let us know down below with your comments in regards to how much you think Garfield's going to make, and if you think it's going to outperform Furiosa as well. Other than that, that will do us on our Let's Be Real podcast today. Hope you've all enjoyed the show wherever and however you've been watching it. Be sure to head down the bottom, hit that like and subscribe button, and share your comments in regards to not only this episode, but future episodes. Future episodes, you might ask, because you can have a hand in that, you know. Tell us a segment that you want us to talk about, anything. If you want us to do a list, let us know. James and I will work on it, and we will share your list, and we'll give you some credit for that list as well. And give us your list too, so we can share it with our followers and viewers too. And yeah, you can get ridiculed like we do. If you don't like watching us, then you can listen to us. We have a backup as always. Head over to Spotify, wherever you pod from, search Let's Be Real, and you can give us a listen on that podcast, and you can see listen to all of our previous podcasts as well, dating back to 2021, 2022. Other than that, hope you guys have a good day. We're Movie Gains, and we will catch you later.
Peace.